Imagine you're in the boardroom, tensions are high, and you're about to lose a multi-million-dollar deal because of a simple misunderstanding. Now picture being able to turn that situation around with just a few carefully chosen words. Today, we're diving into a communication method so powerful, it's been used to diffuse violent conflicts and transform businesses worldwide. Stay tuned to discover how you can revolutionize your leadership and your life with the secrets of nonviolent communication. Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf, your exclusive pass to the most impactful business books shaping industries and driving innovation. I'm your host, and today we're exploring a book that has the potential to completely transform the way you communicate, lead, and live. In today's fast-paced business world, we often focus on hard skills and quantifiable metrics. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking your full potential as a leader lies in something as fundamental as the way you communicate? That's exactly what Dr. Marshall B. Rosenberg argues in his groundbreaking book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. Now, don't let the title fool you. This isn't just about avoiding conflict. Nonviolent communication, or NVC, is a powerful framework for speaking and listening that can help you build stronger relationships, resolve conflicts more effectively, and create a more compassionate and productive work environment. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll dive deep into the core principles of NVC, explore how they can be applied in a business context, and provide you with actionable strategies to start implementing these ideas right away. Whether you're a seasoned CEO or an aspiring entrepreneur, the insights from this book have the power to elevate your leadership to new heights. So, buckle up and get ready to discover how you can transform conflict into connection and turn your communication into your most powerful leadership tool. Now let's start by talking about the power of language and how it shapes our reality in the business world. Picture this. Sarah, a brilliant product manager, has been working tirelessly on a new feature for months. She's poured her heart and soul into this project, burning the midnight oil to meet an ambitious deadline. The day of the big presentation arrives, and she's confident that her work will blow the executive team away. But as she starts her presentation, the CEO interrupts her, saying, "This isn't what we asked for. You've completely missed the mark." Sarah feels her heart sink, her confidence shattered in an instant. This scenario plays out in boardrooms and offices around the world every day, and it's a perfect example of what Marshall Rosenberg calls life-alienating communication. This type of communication disconnects us from others and ourselves, often leading to defensiveness, hurt, and a breakdown in collaboration. In his book, Rosenberg argues that much of our language is inherently violent. Now, he's not talking about physical violence, but rather the violence we do to our relationships and our own well-being through judgments, criticisms, and demands. Think about it. How often in your business life have you heard or used phrases like, "That's a terrible idea," "You always drop the ball on deadlines," "If you don't improve your performance, we'll have to let you go"? These types of statements, while common, create a culture of fear, blame, and disconnection. They focus on what's wrong with people rather than on what we need and value. This is where nonviolent communication comes in. NVC offers a framework for communicating in a way that fosters connection, understanding, and collaboration. It's about expressing ourselves honestly while also empathizing with others. Imagine if, instead of criticizing Sarah's work, the CEO had said something like, "Sarah, I'm feeling concerned because this feature doesn't align with our current market strategy. Can you help me understand your thought process behind these decisions?" This approach opens up a dialogue, shows respect for Sarah's work, and focuses on finding a solution rather than assigning blame. The power of this shift in language cannot be overstated. A study by the American Psychological Association found that positive communication in the workplace leads to a 30% increase in productivity and a 25% decrease in employee turnover. That's the kind of impact we're talking about when we discuss the power of language in business. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the 4 key components of nonviolent communication. These are the building blocks that will allow you to transform your communication style and, by extension, your leadership. 1. Observations. The first component of NVC is making observations without evaluations. This means stating facts without mixing in our judgments or interpretations. For example, instead of saying, "John is lazy," which is an evaluation, we might say, "John has missed the last 3 project deadlines." This is a clear observation of behavior without attaching a label or judgment. In a business context, this skill is invaluable. It allows us to address issues without putting people on the defensive. Imagine you're giving feedback to a team member. Instead of saying, "Your presentation skills are terrible," you might say, "During your last 3 presentations, I noticed you spoke quickly and didn't make eye contact with the audience." This gives the person specific, actionable information without the sting of judgment. 2. Feelings. The second component is identifying and expressing feelings. In the corporate world, we often shy away from talking about feelings, seeing them as unprofessional or irrelevant. But Rosenberg argues that acknowledging feelings is crucial for effective communication. For instance, a manager might say to their team, "I'm feeling frustrated and concerned because we're behind on our quarterly targets." This vulnerability can actually increase trust and motivation within the team. A study by the Center for Creative Leadership found that leaders who were able to express their emotions effectively were perceived as more authentic and were better able to build strong, collaborative teams. 3. Needs. The third component is connecting our feelings with our needs. Every feeling stems from a met or unmet need. By identifying these needs, we can get to the root of conflicts and find solutions more easily. In our earlier example with Sarah, the CEO's need might have been for alignment with the company's strategy. Sarah's need might have been for recognition of her hard work and creativity. By identifying these underlying needs, they could have found a way to meet both sets of needs, perhaps by adapting the feature to better fit the strategy while still incorporating Sarah's innovative ideas. 4. Requests. The final component is making clear, positive requests. This means asking for what we want rather than focusing on what we don't want. For example, instead of saying, "Don't be late to meetings," a leader might say, "Would you be willing to arrive 5 minutes early to our next meeting so we can start on time?" This clear, actionable request is much more likely to get a positive response. Now let's see how these 4 components come together in a real-world business scenario. Imagine you're the CEO of a tech startup. Your head of product development, Alex, has been consistently missing deadlines, causing delays in your product launch. The old you might have called Alex into your office and said something like, "Your performance is unacceptable. If you can't meet deadlines, maybe you're not cut out for this job." But armed with NVC, you approach the situation differently. Here's how the conversation might go. You: "Alex, I've noticed that the last 3 project milestones were delivered an average of 2 weeks late." Observation. Alex: "Yeah, I know, we've been having some issues." You: "I'm feeling anxious and frustrated about this because I need reliability and clear communication to ensure our product launches on time." Feelings and needs. That's it. Alex: "I understand I've been feeling overwhelmed and unsupported." You: "I appreciate you sharing that. What do you need to feel more supported in your role?" Empathizing and inviting Alex to express needs. Alex: "I think we need more resources. The team is stretched too thin, and we're dealing with some technical challenges we didn't anticipate." You: "I see. Would you be willing to put together a proposal outlining the additional resources you need and how they would impact our timeline?" We could review it together next week and figure out a solution. Request. Alex. Yes, I can do that. Thank you for listening. Notice how this conversation, guided by NVC principles, turned a potentially confrontational situation into a collaborative problem-solving session. Instead of assigning blame, you and Alex were able to identify the real issues and work towards a solution together. This approach not only addresses the immediate problem but also strengthens your relationship with Alex, potentially improving long-term productivity and job satisfaction. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but can it really work in the cutthroat world of business? The answer is a resounding yes, but it does come with its challenges. One common pushback is the idea that NVC is too soft for the business world. Some leaders worry that showing empathy or expressing feelings will undermine their authority. However, research consistently shows the opposite. A study published in the Harvard Business Review found that empathetic leaders are viewed as more competent and are more likely to have engaged, high-performing teams. Another challenge is the time it takes to communicate in this way. In a fast-paced business environment, it might seem more efficient to just give orders or criticize poor performance. But consider the time and resources wasted on misunderstandings, conflicts, and employee turnover. Investing time in clear, compassionate communication pays dividends in the long run. So how can you start integrating NVC into your daily business communications? Here are a few practical tips. 1. Practice self-empathy. Before addressing a challenging situation, take a moment to identify your own feelings and needs. This self-awareness will help you communicate more clearly and empathetically. 2. Use I statements. Instead of saying "you're wrong," try "I disagree because." This shifts the focus from blame to your perspective. 3. Reflect back. When someone is speaking to you, especially in a heated situation, try paraphrasing what you heard back to them. This ensures you've understood correctly and shows you're actively listening. 4. Ask for specifics. When receiving vague feedback or criticism, ask for concrete examples. This helps move the conversation from judgments to observations. 5. Make clear requests. Instead of complaining about what's not working, focus on what you'd like to see happen. Be specific and actionable in your requests. Remember, adopting NVC is a process. You won't perfect it overnight, and that's okay. The key is to start small, perhaps by focusing on one component at a time and gradually incorporating more NVC principles into your communication style. As we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways from nonviolent communication. 1. The power of language. Our words can either connect or alienate us from others. Choose them wisely. 2. Observations without evaluations. State facts without mixing in judgments. 3. Express feelings. Acknowledging emotions, even in a business context, can build trust and authenticity. 4. Identify needs. Understanding the needs behind our own and others' actions can lead to more effective problem solving. 5. Make clear, positive requests. Ask for what you want, not what you don't want. Now here's your challenge for the week. In your next meeting or important conversation, try to consciously apply one principle of NVC. Maybe focus on making observations without evaluations, or try expressing a feeling along with a need. Notice how it impacts the interaction and the outcomes. Remember, the path to extraordinary leadership isn't just about strategies and metrics. It's about how you connect with and inspire the people around you. And that starts with communication. Before we go, I want to remind you that you can find a link to purchase Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg in our episode description. Whether you prefer the physical book or the audio book, I highly recommend diving deeper into these concepts. In our next episode, we'll be exploring another game-changing book that's reshaping the business landscape. Until then, keep reading, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of your leadership. This is CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf, reminding you that the most valuable investment you can make is in your own growth. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.